Hello everyone, thank you for joining us. This is Khalid Saleh. We have an information-packed webinar for you today. 5 or 6 case studies. We're talking about category page conversions today. We're going to take one main case study where we were able, through our research, working closely with one of our partners, to increase conversions by 67%. As usual, join the conversation. You can tweet at us at Invest. Use the hashtag InvestCRO. The reason we do these webinars live, because we like to have them interactive. We have team members who are on standby. You can always, if you have a question, you can use the Q&A feature at the GoToWebinar. At the same time, you can use Twitter to send us any questions. Joining me, my partner, the co-founder at Invest. She runs all of our conversion optimization projects, Ayat Shikari. Ayat, if you've worked with Invest, she's the brains of Invest. With that, I'm going to turn it to Ayat. Ayat, you want to jump on from here?
Absolutely. Thank you, Khalid. So what we're going to be talking about today are category pages. All right, so we're going to be talking about category pages. And this is actually a really interesting topic, Khalid, because in general, what we see on category pages is that they're very standardized. There's a product grid, many times there's a left nav. That's kind of the standard that we see on many category pages. So a question that's going to be kind of a rhetoric question that I'm not going to necessarily ask the question, I'm not going to ask you to answer this via our chat. However, if category pages are standard across e-commerce sites, how can you distinguish yourself as a company on these pages? And that's something that I'd like you to think about throughout this webinar, and I'm hoping that by the end of the webinar you'll have an answer to this question. I'm going to jump into the case study immediately. One of the largest electronic retailers in Turkey. This electronic retailer, some of the problems that they were facing was the page is not properly presenting the value proposition. There is a high bounce around effect. There is a higher than normal pre-product page abandonment rate.
So I think this is one of the interesting things, because we're using some terms that some people are not really interested, are not very familiar with.
Absolutely.
The bounce around rate, let me just kind of quickly give you guys an idea. So one of the things that we talk about is the bounce around rate for category pages. Ultimately, on a category page, what you want to see is you want to see your visitors navigating from the category pages to the product pages. However, if you see that visitors are, instead of going from the category pages to the product pages, instead they're going to other category pages, to sibling category pages, to parent category pages, then there is a problem. So that's what we mean by the bounce around effects. There are many reasons for that, but it's a metric that you want to track very carefully if you run an e-commerce website. Pre-product page abandonment. You want your visitors to get to the product pages. Without them getting to the product pages, then you have a problem. If visitors are abandoning your website prior to the product pages, then that is the pre-product page abandonment. With that, so those are two metrics that can really be very indicative about the health of your category pages and your category page design.
All right, so moving on with this case study. The hypothesis is by emphasizing the value of the company to the visitors on the category pages, you will increase flow to product pages as well as increase conversions. And that's what the hypothesis was for this particular case study. So the control, as you can see, the left navigation, there's also the grid view of the products. There's a top advertisement that our partner had, as well as a carousel of top selling products. Variation 1, we removed the top ad, we placed a new banner, it said 7-day money-back guarantee, and we removed the carousel.
And of course, the language is, and this is in Turkish, so for those of you who are not able to understand the banner, it is in Turkish, different language. We've worked with companies in 11 different countries, I think, or 12 different countries, so sometimes a bit challenging with the language barriers. However, the same conversion optimization principles, I think, apply regardless really across verticals, across countries. So it's always interesting though.
Exactly. So as long as you know the market and you know who you're working with, then you can absolutely cater to them. Variation 2, we also removed the top ad. We placed a new banner, customer satisfaction guaranteed or your money back, and we removed the carousel. Variation 3, we removed the top ad, placed a new banner, lowest prices, reliable service, and speedy delivery, and we removed the carousel. So we're going to have a kind of a side-by-side look here, and we're going to do it kind of ask the audience, which design generated the most sales? And we usually launch a poll with these particular case studies to see what you would think and which design you actually believe won.
So team members on standby are going to be launching the poll, and we're going to give you guys a chance to look at the 3 different designs that ran against the original. Let us know which of these designs you think increased sales, generated more sales for this particular partner. And we'll see, like, as more and more of you vote, we'll read some of the answers. Is it design 0 is the original design 1, 2, or 3? So votes are coming in, and Sinan, you're watching. If you want to give me some of the answers. So most of the answers are for design 1. What's the percentage on that? Let's read some of the percentages. 66% are saying design 1.
That was the 7-day money back guarantee.
7 days money back guarantee. Oh, there's a couple votes for design 3. How about design 2? Any votes for design 2? Oh, a single person in this large webinar thinks design 2. So with that, we can close the poll. Let's close the poll. And Ayat, why don't you show us the winner?
All right. So with that, the winner is actually design 2. And that increased conversion 66.8%.
So it's sort of interesting because only one of you guys, our webinar attendees, thought that design 2 actually increased sales. And it's a 66.8, a very significant increase in sales. But it seems most of our webinar attendees missed that answer. So
very interesting. So we're going to actually break down why this particular variation won a little bit later. Here are the results side by side. You can see variation 2, variation 1, and variation 3. They all actually produced an uplift. So you can still give yourself a pat on the back there.
Yeah, so the design variation 2, as you see over here, 66.8%, 93.1 confidence rate, really healthy uplifts, something that you can take to the bank.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to go through kind of category pages at a glance. Of all pages on an e-commerce site, we find the value proposition least present on category pages, which is really interesting. And that's what we were talking about with that standardized kind of a look in terms of the actual category pages. Category pages in general, they also lack personality. And what they should do in the end is just funnel the visitors to the product pages. However, many category pages do not do that. So that's what we're going to be discussing today.
And that's one of the things that we always tell people. Don't expect a whole lot from category pages. Ultimately, they are funnel pages. We want to get visitors to kind of the first battleground in conversion optimization. And when it comes to e-commerce websites, your product pages. Somebody who's not getting to the product pages, there's no chance of converting him. But sometimes people try and do a lot in the category pages. Sometimes they do very little. A lot when they're offering way too many options. Sometimes they do very little in terms of giving visitors the ability to really navigate to those product pages.
Right. It's all about kind of finding what's most important for the visitor on those pages. So we're going to kind of go through the keys to successful category pages. So the number 1 key is to utilize prime real estate on the page to increase buyer momentum. And that happens through inserting effective, persuasive banner messaging, which resonates with the different visitor personas. And we've talked about the personas here on our webinars many times. And you also want to avoid the use of multiple auxiliary navigations. So that's very important to kind of consider as well, and that's a key to a successful category page.
So Ayat, on that multiple auxiliary navigation, whether it's right navigation or left navigation, you were telling me earlier that you had a preference when it comes to left or right navigation.
Right, I prefer left navigation in general. I find that it's something that lots of users, it resonates with them well, and they're able to come to the site and navigate, more thoroughly with that.
So are you recommending always the use of left nav?
I never recommend the use of anything, but I say that it's generally the rule that we follow, and we found that it's very effective.
Okay, very good.
Okay, so with that, we're going to look at the control again. What we were seeing on the control was that the product grid, it was pushed down lower on the page because of the carousel and the top banner. So the carousel, the presence of that carousel and the top ad that was there were kind of pushing down that product grid. So that kind of, it creates an obstacle for the visitor to actually find the products that they need. The top banner also, what was there, it was an ad, it was not targeted to all of the users and it was not relevant to everybody. So that's something that you should consider. Whatever you're going to put in that prime real estate area, you want to make sure that it reflects everyone that's coming to your site, all the visitors. And then prime real estate on a page is not used effectively. You want to make sure that you're using it effectively and that you're considering all the different visitors.
What do you usually refer to prime real estate on a page? I know that's a term that we use all the time, but...
Usually it's the top portion of the page above the fold is what we consider kind of the prime real estate of the page because that's what the user sees first.
Okay, very good.
Variation 2, the winner, utilizing prime real estate by moving the product grid up. The product grid was moved actually significantly up. We also used the banner space that was already being utilized on that page to emphasize the value that they were offering. Again, it's all about that value proposition, very important. And then we removed elements that, although offer additional navigational paths, such as the carousel, they were actually obstructing scent rather than helping. So again, we were dealing with the Turkish market. The carousel did not appeal to them, so we kind of stuck to the product.
I like this. So you're saying with the Turkish markets, you're implying other markets.
No, I mean, they're not generally the Turkish market. Could be this particular website. And the fact that they're
you backtrack very quickly out of this. Again, by the way, if you have any questions, use the Q&A feature. We have team members monitoring that. Just go ahead and send us any questions if anything is not clear to you. Ayat, back to you.
All right. So we're going to go back to the keys to successful category pages. The second one is to provide scent through multiple navigational paths to accommodate visitor needs. And again, we had just talked about navigational paths actually and removing the carousel, but sometimes it may work. So you want to also remove elements that reduce scent. You want to test before placing additional navigational paths. So before adding a carousel, I want to make sure I do an A/B test to make sure it works. Ensure that the left navigation or the refined search features meet the visitor expectation by presenting the most pertinent drill down feature first.
Can you explain this a little bit more? So it's a bit wordy.
So consider, for example, any website, a lot of times they have lots of different products, lots of different options. You want to make sure that you test which options are most important. Is it price? Is it a breakdown by color? Is it a breakdown by size? Whatever it is, you have to make sure that you consider all of those factors and test with them to see what works best.
So the features that the visitors usually use on that particular category within that particular website, those are the ones that we should display to the visitor first, because I guess ultimately that helps the
cognitive
progression of that visitor on that particular website. It helps provide scent. Thus the visitor is able to locate what he's looking for, get to that product page, and ultimately then we go into a different battle.
Yep, absolutely. So we're actually jumping into another case study, and here we have a relaxation home decor e-commerce site. The category page bounce around effect was very high, and there was a high volume of frustrated customer calls. For the control, there was an overwhelming amount of SEO text. If you can see, there's an overwhelming amount of text there, no clear incentives, and there are unnecessary distractions such as the newsletter sign up. And you might see that it's very small, but again, from the visitor's perspective, and we have it actually highlighted there, from the visitor's perspective, they see that, they click on it, they're going to navigate away from your category page. Is that something that you want at this time? The variation 1, which is actually the winner, we included an incentive banner. There was no newsletter and no SEO text. We moved the SEO text actually to the bottom of the page. So the winner for that variation had a 34.2% increase in website conversion.
So this is really also very interesting because a couple of things that we see over here. One is the standard SEO text. I mean, I can't just say like it's less and less. Less people are using it. However, it's still there on category pages. So removing it did not actually impact the website traffic because we would not remove it completely from the page. It's still there, but it's not presented first. So that's sort of an interesting, and at the same time you're able to increase conversions by 34%. Here's a question that came through the Q&A feature. So you want to display the category page title and at the same time you want to use the banner. How do you do that? I think the answer, and correct me if I'm wrong, the banner is always first, then after that is the particular categories. That's how we recommend it.
Exactly, and that's how we've done it with a lot of different customers. And you can see it actually in this particular example as well. Okay, so here are the results. We had a 34.2% increase in conversion for this website. So here's the pop quiz for you, and we like to do these pop quizzes, and we're going to actually launch a poll. We'd like to ask you, based on some of the things that we've already discussed, which design generated the most sales?
So Dr. Sinan over here will launch the poll for you if we're able to launch the second poll, and let's get some results over here.
Is it design A or design B? You can see kind of a really big difference between the two designs. Which one do you think generated the most sales?
And again, we're looking at category pages over here. Quite a bit of change. I see carousel is gone. What other changes we have?
Yes, there's many changes actually there. There's a banner that was displayed. There is also a left navigation or refined search that we included on the winning design. So the winner actually with 50% increase in website conversion was design B. So if
what are the results? We didn't get a read on the results. Which well, 56% of our attendees voted for the design.
Good job.
Well, it's a 50-50. I mean, I would have thought more people would be voting for the winning design. 56% only chose design B.
Okay, so I'm just going to go back and show you the two designs side by side. The winner was, with a 50% increase in conversion, design B. Okay, so again, there was a refined search that was included, and we removed we actually included a carousel in this particular design and removed the top banner from the page.
Interesting.
So we're going to go back to the keys to successful category pages. We've gone through two of them now. The third one is to utilize both copy and design to clearly present and emphasize the value proposition throughout the page. And this is actually really key because when it comes to value proposition, again, it's something that we find is generally lacking on the category pages. We find that it's present on home pages. We find that it's present on product pages. But when it comes to the category pages, it's lacking.
I think there are two pages on e-commerce websites that usually suffer when it comes to value proposition. Category pages, somehow people feel less obligated in presenting their value proposition. And also on cart page and throughout the checkout, sometimes many websites really ignore emphasizing the value proposition, although it plays a very important role in convincing the visitor, in both cases, to move forward in that conversion funnel or conversion path.
Right, absolutely. So we're going to talk a little bit about actually the value proposition, how to come up with a unique value proposition. This is something that actually take kind of business 101, but again, it's something that a lot of companies suffer from, and they don't have their value proposition defined clearly. So what we recommend is that you think internally and externally. Number one is, what makes you unique and stand out? How do you view yourself, your company? How do customers view you? And how do you compare to competitors in the eyes of a potential customer? Those are all kind of questions that you really need to ask yourself and evaluate yourself when you're thinking of your unique value proposition. And ways to actually do that and actually come up with those solutions and those answers to those questions is by conducting a SWOT analysis. Khalid, do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
So strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, it's very important that you complete that SWOT analysis in order for you to determine what areas you're really doing very well in terms of presenting a unique value proposition, in terms of relieving the fears, uncertainties, and doubts that visitors might have, what areas you are weak compared to other competitors, the areas of opportunities that you can basically, based on looking at your overall market space, And the threats. Threats because of the economy, because of the market space, other competitors. That's what analysis is very critical to conversion optimization. Many companies jump into conversion optimization without really thinking about their competitive landscape. However, one of the very first things that you do when you are doing a conversion optimization project is conducting that SWOT analysis, looking at the competitive landscape, and that might help you really determining what areas you can optimize in your websites. Might give you some really good suggestions, some really things that you want to avoid that your competitors are doing, and you don't think that they're really helping visitors.
Excellent. And then the last thing would be, can you actually say what distinguishes your company succinctly in just one single sentence? And we find that a lot of companies actually suffer from that. They can't necessarily say that. So another pop quiz for you here. Which design generated the most sales? We're actually going to wait now this time. Hopefully we'll wait and see the results before we actually announce them. I'm not going to say anything about what we did and what we changed. You have design A and you have design B. Which design do you think won?
So Dr. Sinan, if you can launch this poll, and let's get some read. We'll give our visitors about 30 seconds this time to answer. Meanwhile, we have a question from the audience.
Yeah.
In terms of the banners, and I'm going to generalize the question a little bit because we get quite a bit of questions that are very specific to the website. But in terms of the banners that you use on the website, 60 days, money back guarantee, free shipping. What's a good value proposition? What's a good banner to use on category pages? Would you use the same banner that you use on category pages all across the website? That's kind of a bonus question for me.
Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't use it across all different websites. Each company.
No, I meant all pages within the particular website. So the banner appears on a category page, appears on product pages, or no? Would you use a particular banner? You change the messaging. What's our thought?
I mean, we've actually tested with both, and it depends on the company and it depends on what the offering is. So we can't really necessarily tell you that this is the way to go with the banner messaging. But I found that with many partners that we've worked with, that using a kind of a messaging, a value over and over again does resonate well with visitors. But I wouldn't tell you to necessarily apply it without actually testing it.
Now, let me add one thing, and I think we have a couple of our partners who actually we've done quite a bit of testing on banners with attending the webinar, so they would recognize, let me not mention them, but what's interesting is I recall one of them that was using a particular banner, a particular offer in the email newsletter that they were sending out, and adding and using that same banner on the category pages, then to the product page, to the cart page, increased conversions tremendously. Worth really a case study. Sure, we'll cover it. A classic example on continuity, one of the main elements of trust. What are the results from the polling that we have open over here? So 67% B, 33% A. Let's see.
And the results are actually variation B. So you did an excellent job. The biggest change that you'll find on that particular variation is that the banner was changed with the ebook advantage there. Something that resonated very well with the visitors. So
67% of our visitors got this right. Very good. 10% increase in conversions.
In conversion. Going back to the keys to successful category pages, the last one is to distinguish the value of certain products through effective messaging and design. And then we're going to actually jump into the next pop quiz. So we've actually gone through 5 different case studies, and we're doing many of these pop quizzes to kind of keep it interactive and interesting for you. Which design, based on the last key to successful category pages, which design do you think won? Was it design A or design B? And we're launching the poll right now, and we'll wait for the results. Give it a few seconds.
So I also want to thank the team members who are, I know some of them have been exhausted, new studio, and it's sort of exciting, so we'll take some pictures and post them on our Twitter feed. But first time that we're launching this webinar in this new studio, I know some of the guys look very sleepy and very tired. The webinar recording is going to be available sometime next week. We're going to actually have a live video from the webinar, so this is going to be something a little different for us. We'll see how this goes. Answers: 100% design A. Design A, 100%.
All right, great job, attendees, with a 15.6 increase in website conversion. It was Design A. Again, based on that last point that we discussed, really, with this site highlighting the budget-friendly flower bouquets was very important for the visitors, and including, of course, we did include a banner for this particular website as well. So those two elements increased 15.6% for this category page.
Excellent, so 100%, that's just spot on.
All right, and here is just to go back and review our keys to successful category pages so that you can remember them. Utilize the prime real estate on the page to increase buyer momentum. Provide sufficient scent through multiple navigational paths to accommodate visitor needs. Utilize both copy and design to clearly present and emphasize value proposition throughout the page, and distinguish the value of certain products through effective messaging and design. And with that, you'll see many increases on your category pages. So what we'd like to say is just thank you for attending, and for more information, of course, you can always purchase our book, and you can follow our blog and follow us on Twitter.
With that, yeah, so of course the book is available on Amazon.com. The book has been a bestseller now since 2010. I think it's really worth looking at the second edition with so many new case studies. I'm working on convincing Ayat to do that, so slowly but surely. At the same time, we are back into heavy, really blogging some really very useful case studies. Our A/B testing engine is in beta mode. It's going to be launching next week, so keep an eye on that. You will be receiving an email with that announcement. After we finish this webinar, if you are interested in becoming part of the global network, the partners of Invest, if you are looking to increase conversion rates, if you are thinking about doing conversion optimization specifically on mobile websites, we're looking at different global websites with different offering in different countries. If you have been stuck really at the low level conversion rates, there is a survey that's going to launch after we close the webinar. You can always fill that information. You can always come to our website. Also, there's a contact form. We can talk. We see if we can help you. If we can help you, definitely we'll do our best. Unfortunately, we ran into some technical difficulties today, so we're not able to do the live optimization. However, here's something. I think we've compiled quite a bit of websites that have been submitting to do live optimization. So we might be doing a special live optimization clinic in the next few days. Just pull up a few of the websites, so please stay tuned for that. We appreciate you guys taking the time to attend our webinar. You are going to be receiving a link to the slides through SlideShare. You are also going to be receiving a recording, the YouTube recording for the video. Our goal is to create a community of people who care for conversion optimization, so please share that with your friends and colleagues who are interested in conversion optimization. With that, we thank you everybody for attending.